So before we even talk about the topic, we need to define white privilege. Rod B., could you let the world know what is white privilege?
Well, we could probably start with what it is not. And some people start off by, and thank you for having me on the program today. So white privilege does not mean that you are a white person that happens to be rich. Like we often hear individuals who happen to be white complaining and saying, well, I don't have white privilege because I don't have money. I have 10 jobs. I work 5 jobs. I grew up in a trailer park. I grew up without having a lot of means. So white privilege does not mean, or has really very little to do with economics. Economics are a part of it, but it does not mean you have access to all this capital, all this wealth. It simply means that it's a privilege. You have privilege means that you have a benefit beyond what others would be able to do, right? When you add white privilege, now it becomes you have a benefit simply because of your racial makeup. And that's really what it comes down to. But we all benefit from some level of privilege. I'm an educated man who happens to be Black, but because I'm educated, I have a privilege above someone who is not. It does not mean that I am really smarter. It just means that I've been given or been trained in certain tools beyond what someone else may have been. If I live in the hood, right, and I control this block and I wear certain colors, someone who doesn't wear those colors doesn't have the privilege that I have, because they're going to walk down that block without having access or having that privilege. So that's privilege. White privilege means I have access to things regardless of my income, my education, my anything else. I have societal privilege that's been passed down to me simply because of how I look, not because of anything I've done, not because of any achievement, not because of any intelligence, just because of what I am. And we see that every day, which is why it now ties into Black Lives Matter and everything else that goes on. So that's what white privilege is.
White Americans are never afraid of the cops, even when they're committing insurrection, even when they're engaged in attempting to occupy our capital, to steal the votes of people who look like me. Because in their minds, they own this country, they own that capital, they own the cops work for them, and people like me have no damn right to try to elect a president, because we don't get to pick the president. They get to pick the president. They own the president. They own the White House. They own this country. And so when you think you own it, you own the place, you ain't afraid of the police, because the police are you, and the police reflect back to them. We're with you. You're good. We're not going to hurt you, because you're not them. Guarantee you, if that was a Black Lives Matter protest in D.C., there would already be people shackled, arrested, or dead.
Going inside the building, occupying the balconies, occupying the center steps, and also the...
Oh, there we go. And they just reached the Capitol again. ACAF.